This video story is proudly presented by EnglishTuition.org. It is part of a series that showcases the adventures of a boy named Bobby. We would like to invite you to join us in this exciting series. This story is about an outdoor trip. Without further ado, let's get started. Bobby had prayed for good weather, and his wishes had come true. He woke up that day and saw the bright sun shining cheerfully in the sky. It was a great start for the day. Bobby was going hiking with his classmates that day, and he could hardly contain his excitement. When he reached school, many of his classmates had already arrived. They were chatting excitedly among themselves. Soon, the form teacher, Mr. Tan, instructed everyone to board the bus. After a quick head count to ensure that everyone was on board, Mr. Tan signaled to the driver. The bus moved off and headed for Bukit Timah Nature Reserve. In the bus, the students were rambunctious. To keep everyone under control, Mr. Tan suggested that they sang a song. The idea worked brilliantly. They sang songs that they had learnt during music lessons in school and had a great time in the bus. After about 20 minutes, they arrived at their intended destination. Everyone alighted from the bus. Mr. Tan proceeded to give a briefing about safety. He stressed that if someone encountered a live animal, they should not approach it. Instead, they should leave it alone in its habitat and continue the hike. He also informed everyone that should they encounter any trouble, they should shout for help. After the quick briefing, Mr. Tan led the students on the trail and started the hike. Bobby was filled with curiosity. It was the first time he had been on a hike. He was fascinated by the lush greenery that surrounded him. He heard all kinds of interesting sounds coming from the bushes and trees. However, he could not see the animals making those sounds. In class, Bobby learned that snakes and spiders were commonly sighted on hiking trails. He wanted to see them for himself. Perhaps I can catch a hairy spider and play a prank on someone, Bobby thought to himself and grinned sheepishly. As Bobby started to daydream, he did not watch his steps and tripped over a rock. He felt a sharp pain shoot up his knees. However, before he could react, he caught sight of a snake on the ground. It was coiled up and lay motionless. It looked really attractive with bright orange stripes. Bobby wanted to call out to his classmates, but they had moved on ahead of him. Curiosity got the better of Bobby. He wondered if the snake was dead or alive. He was also curious about how touching the skin of a snake would feel like. He moved stealthily towards the snake. It remained as still as before. Mustering up his courage, Bobby reached out and poked the snake with his index finger. That startled the snake. It lashed out without warning and bit Bobby's forearm. It then slithered away into the bushes. It suddenly dawned on Bobby that the snake could have been venomous. Bobby let out a wail. "Wah! I'm gonna die!" he cried. Mr. Tan heard Bobby's cries and immediately ran over to him. He saw the bite on Bobby's forearm and asked him what had happened. In between sobs, Bobby told Mr. Tan what he had done. Mr. Tan looked grim when he heard that Bobby had been bitten by a snake. He asked Bobby to describe the appearance of the snake. When Mr. Tan heard Bobby's description, he heaved a sigh of relief.
That sounded like a ground snake. It is not poisonous.
Mr. Tan said.
We should still get you to a hospital to make sure you are safe.
Mr. Tan quickly drove Bobby to the hospital. The doctors checked on Bobby and told him that he had nothing to worry about. At the hospital, Mr. Tan had a stern conversation with Bobby. He reminded Bobby of the importance of heeding safety instructions. Bobby should have left the snake alone and continued on the hike. Luckily, Bobby was bitten by a non-venomous snake. The outdoor trip had turned out to be both a fortuitous and unforgettable one. Thank you for joining us in this video story. If you like this story, do join Bobby on his exciting adventures. We hope to see you soon in the next one.